So it looked like the WNBA has officially sabotaged Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. This schedule is terrible.
If you're counting down to Caitlin Clark's return, you might be watching the wrong clock. Because the biggest threat to seeing Caitlin again isn't a defender. It isn't a slump. It isn't even rust. It's paperwork. And I know that sounds boring. But stay with me, because at the end, I'm going to give you the one signal that tells you Caitlin's first game is actually locked in before the schedule even drops.
Ever since Caitlin Clark has got into this league, it's always obstacle after obstacle for this young lady. And it's clear to me, and it should be clear to all of you guys, that there is a hidden agenda against Caitlin Clark for her to be successful in the WNBA. Now, I know some of you guys is thinking, John, what do you mean is there a hidden agenda? Let's start with the first year.
Right now, fans are starving for Caitlin Clark basketball. You can feel it. Every week without her, the internet gets louder. The clips get replayed, the arguments get sharper, and the anticipation gets more dangerous. Because anticipation doesn't just build hype, it builds pressure, and the WNBA is sitting on the most valuable thing it's had in years. But here's the scary part. While fans are waiting for Caitlin to return to the court, the league is stuck in a freeze. ESPN has been reporting on it, and Reuters confirmed it in plain language. The WNBA and the Players Union agreed to a moratorium that basically pauses league business.
So y'all just gonna keep going, huh? Y'all just gonna keep going on being petty and petty nonstop. It's almost like y'all can't help it. Just as the WNBA puts out the schedule for the 2026 WNBA season without a CBA done, they had to put this schedule out for partners, for the arenas, for television networks, to know that, hey, we have a plan in order, even though we might be facing a damn lockout if these WNBA PA ladies don't get their head in the game.
No normal free agency, no normal movement, and no clean off season. Therefore, everything gets delayed. And when everything gets delayed, the one thing fans want most becomes uncertain. That is how a comeback gets soft canceled. Not with an announcement, but with silence. Now zoom out. This isn't just a Caitlin story, this is a league story. The collective bargaining agreement hit its deadline. No new deal. So the league entered what people keep calling status quo. That phrase sounds harmless. But status quo is where both sides keep negotiating.
Game. The WNBPA went to Instagram to slam the WNBA owners once again, man. This is beyond nasty work. Let's not play any games. Let's get right into things. Y'all knew this WNBA schedule. Make no mistake about it. The WNBPA knew the schedule was coming out today. They knew they knew it was coming out. What did they do? They said, we're going to get ahead of it. Before they can even put the schedule out, we are going to remind people that we would like them to stop playing games. We're still trying to win you guys over. We're still trying to play the social media game.
And either side can still pull the emergency lever. A strike, a lockout, a stoppage, even if nobody wants to do it. But in negotiations, you don't need chaos to happen. You only need the fear of chaos to change behavior. That's what we're watching right now. And it gets worse. Because 2026 isn't a normal season. The league is trying to expand. Portland and Toronto are coming into the picture. That means an expansion draft has to happen. Free agency has to happen. The college draft has to happen. But all of that is connected to the labor deal. So if the deal drags, the entire offseason gets compressed. And when the offseason gets compressed, training camps get messy. Player prep gets messy, scheduling gets messy. Therefore, the product gets messy. And when the product gets messy, the league risks turning the Caitlin Clark moment into a frustration cycle.
So lads, I just looked at the Fever schedule. It is hell. Like, the Fever might have one of the weirdest schedules I have ever seen. Like, they genuinely have a gap. Like, if you look at this schedule, it's actually mad. So, they play a 5-game road trip with 5 games in 8 days, ending on a back-to-back. to like near the end of the season.
Now I can already hear the pushback.
Relax. The season will happen.
Maybe. But the point isn't whether the season happens. The point is how close the league is willing to get to the edge. Because even a near miss is damaging. Sponsors get nervous, broadcasters get nervous, fans get exhausted. And Caitlyn's return stops feeling like a celebration and starts feeling like a negotiation hostage.
What is going on, guys? What is going on? Like, y'all gotta stop this, man. Y'all have to stop this. This is insane. This is insanity. They cannot stop with the social media games, man. But the WNBA paid them no mind, as they've been paying them no mind as of late anyway. The WNBA has been paying these ladies no mind, bro. And I know they don't like it. They can't stand it. They want things done how they want them done.
Now let's talk about Caitlyn herself. She's not out there playing unrivaled. That's been reported. So fans don't even get the off-season fix. No little teaser games, no casual warm-up runs, just waiting. Therefore, the first time she steps back into a real game will feel massive. But that also means the first time gets bigger stakes. If Caitlyn's first appearance back is delayed, the anger won't spread evenly. It will land on the league. It will land on the union. It will land on anyone fans think is messing with the moment. And the truth is, Caitlyn doesn't even need to say a word for this to explode. Because Caitlyn has become a symbol. To some fans, she's the face of the league's future. To other fans, she's the lightning rod. But either way, when she's not on the floor, the conversation gets uglier. Now here's where the fear really kicks in. The schedule. People keep asking, when do we actually get the 2026 schedule? And it's complicated this year, because schedule timing is tied up with expansion planning and labor uncertainty. So fans are sitting there refreshing pages and seeing last season, or seeing nothing new. And when fans don't get certainty, they fill the gap. They don't fill it with patience. They fill it with conspiracy. They fill it with panic. They fill it with rage. Therefore, the longer the league stays quiet, the louder the internet gets. Now, there is a detail people should pay attention to. Players have been taking this seriously. Reports have said players have already voted to authorize a strike if necessary. Again, that doesn't mean it happens, but it means the threat is real enough that they prepared the button. So here's the big question. What does any of this mean for Caitlyn Clark's return? It means her comeback isn't just about her body being ready, it's about the league being ready. And right now, the league is negotiating the rules of the next era while the audience is screaming for the next game. That is a dangerous place to live. But let's flip it, because this can also create the biggest Caitlyn Clark moment yet. Think about what happens the instant the deal is done. Everything unfreezes at once. Free agency moves, expansion draft prep, draft plans, schedule release. It's like the league presses play after holding its breath. And when that happens, Caitlyn's return stops being a slow build and becomes an event. Now I promised you a payoff. Here it is. If you want the real sign that Caitlyn's first game is actually locked in, don't watch rumors. Don't watch hot takes. Don't even watch the Fever schedule page first. Watch for one phrase in the next official wave of reporting. The moratorium is lifted. The day you see that, it means the deal is real enough that the league is letting teams move again. And once teams can move again, the off-season calendar starts snapping into place. Expansion draft timing becomes real. Free agency dates become real, and the schedule release becomes imminent. Therefore, Caitlyn's return goes from sometime in May to circle this week. That is the signal. Moratorium lifted equals the league clock starts. So if you're a Caitlyn Clark fan, that's your countdown. And if you're a creator, that's your trigger to hit publish fast, because the second the league unfreezes, the Caitlyn Clark content wave will be insane. If you're still watching, drop CC Countdown in the comments.
I'm a big fan of women's sports and what they do at the highest level. So for me, I've always been a golf fan, and then getting to see them do it up close, it makes it even that much more real and special, just how they go about their business, even when I'm just playing 9 holes with them. So it's pretty fun and pretty cool, and I know people would love it if they took the time to even turn it on or even come out here and watch.
If Caitlin would start her own league with you, I'd give her $100 million, and I have as many billionaires as you needed to start a league.
And if you think this is just a cute off-season hobby, you're about to miss what's actually happening, because in 2026, golf could quietly become the place where Caitlin gains leverage without ever saying a word about leverage. So stay with me, because at the end, I'm going to give you the one signal to watch for in 2026 that tells you whether Caitlin is about to become golf's biggest ratings weapon. And it's not, is she good enough? It's something far more obvious and far more powerful. Let's start with the part that's real, scheduled, and sitting there like a trapdoor. The LPGA already has a date on the calendar. The Anika, driven by Gainbridge at Pelican, is set for November 12th to 15th, 2026 in Bel Air, Florida. That matters because Caitlin isn't just randomly connected to this event. She's a Gainbridge ambassador.
The young girls that are at our games screaming and having the time of their lives, a lot of them, when you go up to them, just start crying, or it's it's cute. But also, I was just in their shoes, however many years ago, I was begging my dad or my mom to take me to whatever sporting event it was, and I was screaming, and I wanted to meet the players, whether they were on the high school team or whether they were pros or in college, because it was so impactful. Like, I loved I wanted to be who they were. I think everybody talks about like the effect that we have on them, but also they have the same effect on us, and I think that's what's really cool about it.
And in 2025, the tournament announced she would be in the Wednesday Pro-Am. So when people say maybe she pops up again, that's not a fantasy, that's a pattern. And patterns in sports don't just happen, they get planned. Now here's where the fear part starts. If Caitlin becomes a predictable annual golf appearance, especially at a sponsor-linked LPGA event, then her off-season stops being a quiet reset. It becomes a second media season, a second attention cycle, a second wave of headlines that the WNBA doesn't control. And you know what that means in modern sports? Leverage. Not the loud kind where you demand things. The quiet kind where brands, networks, and events line up because your name moves the needle. And we've already seen the blueprint on the PGA Tour side too. In November 2024, the PGA Tour posted coverage that Caitlin Clark and Tom Brady played in the RSM Classic Pro-Am at Sea Island. That matters for one reason. She's already been approved in that world. Not by opinions, by results. They saw the crowd interest. They saw the media pop. They saw the cameras follow.
Yes, I can report that everyone was safe. No one was almost hit this week like last week. And it really was just a continuation of what we saw last week at the Anika. It's what happens when you have a transformative athlete like Caitlin come out to another sport. She crosses over to a new sport and she brings that stardom and those fans over. But many of the fans who were walking with her today aren't necessarily golf fans. They're either Caitlin fans or WNBA fans, and it's kind of their first exposure to the game. So a lot like last week, it was a really good step for golf and obviously for Caitlin and her fans.
So don't treat 2026 like it starts from scratch, and it doesn't. It starts from momentum. Now let's get to the 2026 storyline that could go nuclear, because the LPGA lane is one thing, but the creator golf lane is where the internet goes feral. Golf.com reported in November 2025 that Dave Portnoy wants to land Caitlin Clark for the Internet Invitational in 2026, and the report frames it as a serious target, something he's actively pursuing.
You said you'd partner with her and give her $100 million. That's the biggest offer that she's gotten.
If she would have let me be her agent, I would have in a second. And if she's like, I'll start a new league with you, I would get her whatever you want. I don't think she'll ever do that. Like, I talk with her never about that stuff. She has State Farm, Nike, Gatorade. Those are like blue bloods. Reminds of Tom Brady in a way. Like, very rarely, if ever, publicly says anything that like should cause any waves. She's kind of like been a good trooper for the Fever and the league.
And this is where people misunderstand what's at stake. This isn't Caitlin tries golf. This is Caitlin becomes the centerpiece of viral golf content. Because creator golf doesn't behave like traditional golf media. It's engineered for clips, engineered for drama, engineered for moments. which means if she shows up, it's not one headline, it's weeks of headlines. It's reaction videos, it's podcast debates, it's did you see this shot and content. It's golf audiences colliding with WNBA audiences. And if you're the WNBA, you should be nervous. Not because she's leaving, but because she's proving, again, that she can dominate attention without you. Now, I'm going to say something that will make some people mad. In 2026, Caitlyn doesn't even need to be great at golf to win the golf storyline. She just needs to be present. Because her presence is the product. Her presence is the ratings. Her presence is the ticket demand. That's the uncomfortable truth. And that's why these small golf appearances suddenly start feeling bigger than they should. Because they aren't small, they're positioning. Now let's bring it back to the 2026 calendar. That Annika date, November 12th to 15th, sits right in that late year window where sports media gets hungry. Football's raging, NBA is starting, the WNBA season is done, and suddenly, there's a vacuum for a clean, high-interest story. And if Caitlyn is attached to it, she becomes the story. Again. So here's the real speculation that matters. Not, will she play golf? But who is building the rollout? Because this is what the smart people are watching. Do we get an early announcement push? Do we see sponsor content start early? Do we see ticket pages and promotional material quietly hinting at her appearance before it's official? Because in 2025, the tournament itself made a clear announcement about her Pro-Am return. That's not random, that's coordinated. So if 2026 follows that same pattern, it tells you something. It tells you they want Caitlyn as a headline driver again. Now let's hit the promise I made at the start. Here is the one signal to watch in 2026. The payoff. If Caitlyn is playing a major golf appearance in 2026, you'll see one of these two things happen first. One, an official Annika, LPGA, or tournament side mention tied to the Pro-Am. No vague chatter, no social hints, but a real tournament-linked update that aligns with ticketing and promotion. Or two, a Portnoy-style confirmation that drops like a bomb for Internet Invitational 2026, because creator golf announcements are made for maximum attention, and golf.com has already framed Caitlyn as a top target for 2026. And here's how you use that signal like a cheat code. If the Annika side starts hinting early, it means the 2026 story is going to be Caitlyn as the face of women's sports crossover, clean, sponsor-driven, mainstream. But if the creator side confirms first, it means the 2026 story is going to be Caitlyn as the internet's most watchable athlete. Chaotic, viral, unavoidable. Either way, the scary part for everyone else is the same. Caitlyn doesn't need the WNBA calendar to stay relevant. She can manufacture her own season. And 2026 is the year you might watch that happen in real time. If you're still watching, drop CCGOLF2026 in the comments.